Come on. Hello everyone. This is going to be a hold my beer level hack. We're going to try to manually manipulate the React AST, that's the abstract syntax tree from React, to achieve an effect on the paywall of my serverless handbook page. Now I'm going to show you what's going on and what we're going to try to fix. And then we're just going to give it a shot and see how long this takes. Hopefully it's not going to be too long. I've done some research in advance, but I don't know if this is going to work. So if you open my serverless handbook page in a incognito browser, or if you're a first-time user, you get the normal homepage, that's fine. And then when you go to a specific chapter, you get this sort of unstyled, ugly-looking article that you can read, and it kind of works, doesn't have syntax highlighting on the code. The bolds and the fonts are a little weird, and eventually it blurs out and you get to the paywall that says, hey, you should totally buy this, and then you'll be able to do stuff and get a free chapter and so on. But if you open this on once it works, you'll see what the styling is supposed to look like. So this is what the styling is supposed to look like. This is what you get when you're not logged in. Yes, you can see that. So obviously this is bad. I don't know if it's actually impacting conversions. I haven't tested that. But I think that generally speaking, this is not a good look. It doesn't inspire confidence. It doesn't look good. And the reason this is happening is because the paywall is taking the full article from Markdown or from MDX actually. So it's taking the full Markdown from MDX using Gatsby, and then it's chopping it off at the part where there's a log div and uses dangerously setting inner HTML to put it back into the to put this back into to put it back into the page. It's not styled using TeamUI because it strips out all the classes and TeamUI doesn't know what's going on. So what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to change this dangerously set inner HTML with the actual React children, and we're going to manually cut off those children. That's the dirty AST hack. I don't know if it's going to work, but we shall see. So what we're going to do first is, right now we're taking the children and we're rendering to string. We're rendering all the children to an HTML string, splitting by the lock and taking the first part. What I'm going to do instead is console log the children so that we can see what's in there, and then we're going to try to manipulate them to get a better copy, basically to get a better thing. Wow, I don't have my... So I've been having the hiccups for like 4 days now, so my voice is a bit hoarse. Also, if you're in the chat room, please say hi, because otherwise I have no idea you're there. So we have these fiber nodes and stuff. I think we don't. Hey Julian, how are you doing this morning? So let's see. We have the AST here. This is the React AST. I am showing you this behind my face. Okay, so this is the React AST we are working with. I don't have a good way of visualizing it, but we're gonna try to see if we can find the main content and then hack around that. I need to also see how this actually works. Children gets props, then gets more children, more props. Where does it tell us? So I'm trying to figure out how to see what's actually there. Let's try just rendering them. So instead of making an HTML, let's try just returning the children. And we should see that this is going to render the full article/chapter using correct styling. That's the assumption. Okay, so we've got the correct styling, and everything is syntax highlighted. And how come the paywall still showed up? Oh, right. The paywall still shows up because I have client-side JavaScript enabled. So if I disable client-side JavaScript, JavaScript disable, that should make it, that should show what's going on. Okay, so we should now get the whole thing, and god damn it, why is there still a paywall? How is this happening? There should not in fact be a paywall. Let's try that again. Okay, I think I know why the paywall is showing up. It's showing up because of where do we show snip copy? Snip content. I need to refresh my memory. Git grab snip content. Paywall return components layout. Components layout. If we look at the snip content, so it's showing up here. And what if, oh, okay, I know what's going on. So we're going to turn off this use effect so that we can only get the paywall if it shows up while the page is being rendered. Hey, virtual. Hey, Rook. Oh, nice. Nikki, that was a really helpful tip about deleting node modules because that totally unblocked me. So we now get the full content, and I'm going to verify that if we instead render the dangerously set inner HTML, we're going to get the snipped content. But the paywall is not going to show up because we're not running the things. We're not running the use effect. And yes, virtual, this is all Gatsby based. Okay, cool. So we've got that. Now, if we know that if we return children, we'll get the whole page rendered. So let's look at what the children actually look like once they're rendered. So we have the main ID content, then we have H1, and then all of the P's and stuff like that. So what happens if we render children 0 first? Because we saw that it was an array of 2 elements. So if we render children 0, we get nothing. If we render children 1, I think that's going to be the huge content. Okay, so I don't know what children 0 represents, but children 1 is where we have all of the content. Now, how do we get children 1? The children of that should have all of the elements that we want. Okay, so it's an MDX content node. Is MDX content is true? Prototype arguments. So what I'm trying to figure out is how do I get the children of this stuff? Let's try console logging children 1. So what I'm hoping to find is a list of all of the nodes that are in this MDX content. So children 1, what prints if we print children 1? So this is children 1. It has symbol React elements, key, props, type, owner, children. So it should be props and then more children. I don't know how this works. So page resources component. Page, aha. No, that's not it. JSON page context front matter. No, that's not it either. This is really confusing. So page content, page resources, component. Okay, so if we go page resources and we print the first component, yes, I'm looking for the content of that node virtual. Component of undefined. What if we put a question mark there? Oh, because it was props. Props dot page resources dot component. Let's see. Okay, so MDX content. And what happens if we call that component? Clearly, it's been a very, very long time since I hacked around React AST. Yes, virtual. I'm trying to modify how the MDX is rendering. Or rather, I'm trying to snip it. So I think we need to figure out what is the MDX content component. How does that work? MDX content. Aha. So MDX content is an MDX component. The component mapping contains a p key that will be used for blah. Alejandro, AST is the abstract syntax tree. That's the data structure that React translates your JSX code into when you're trying to basically when React parses JSX, your JSX code, it translates it into an AST, abstract syntax tree. It then manipulates that stuff and renders it back into HTML. So let's see, render MDX to the terminal. Install MDX runtime. Components, MDX provider, MDX. So what I'm trying to figure out is how is this MDX content actually set? What's it being called with? Arguments can't be accessed on strict mode. Okay, that's fair. Oh, I think you're right. It might be context from the provider. But how do we get that context? Okay. So wait. If we console log the children, let's see. So the children prop is a React element that has a type of MDX content and an owner, which is a fiber node. What does the fiber node contain? It has children, element type, page renderer, last effect, pending props, return. Aha. So I think this is where it's at. So these fibers are the actual children. And then what are the element types? Name M. Geez. So type fiber node, element type function, state node, page query store. So I think these fibers are where the AST is hiding. Well, this is certainly interesting. What can we do here? State node, last effect. That's interesting. What do you mean by analyze? This is us analyzing the existing component virtual. So let's see, we have this. This is the child. If the type is MDX content, we could go look at how that works, but I think this owner is the interesting part. Child dependencies, element type, router. Okay. So let's try. Yeah, I do. No, that's the thing. I don't actually have the source code of the component. I have well, I kind of have the source code of the component. I don't have the actual, the source code we end up with, because we're parsing MDX and turning it into React components. What about, maybe this is what we can do. For a full-fledged introduction to plugins, it's recommended to read the remark guides. I wonder if we can write this as a plugin instead. Oh, you mean source code of open source elements? Yes, that could work. So let's go do that. We go look at the, where is it? MDX content. Let's go look at what's the node, what's the MDX version I'm on. Okay, version 1.6. Do one tags. We go to 1.6.22, and we're gonna find the MDX content node or component. Let me zoom this in a little bit. So packages, MDX AST to MDX AST, has to JSX. So this is, I think this is the one that does our work. Or rather, let's see. So MDX, no, let's look here. MDX content, is that what the component is called? We have a child here, props, yes, MDX content, that's what we're looking for. So MDX content, how is that implemented? Yes, that's the MDX content, terminal MDX, docs, MDX host to JSX, there we go. So MDX content, create MDX content. Where does that code come from? So create MDX content takes children and returns, ooh, what the heck is this? I think this is where we're at. Expression type function declaration. What is this returning? So in top scope ES3, okay, so this is defining the ES3, which is another type of EST or AST. We have walk, enter, JSX identifier, JSX element, opening element, component. Wow, this is complicated. So this is the compiler that compiles MDX. Then we have that stuff. Yeah, they are building a tree that's processed in another level. So let's see what's everything that we get in snip content, because it might be easier to do this another way. No, props. Let's console log all of the props. Console log props, reload the page. Okay, and we aren't getting anything. Cool. So what are we passing in here in the layout where we are rendering snip content? We're passing in props.children, and those props, that's a bunch of stuff. Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out is how could we what am I trying to figure out? It would be interesting if we could hook into the actual MDX process, because I feel like we're doing this a little late right now. But it should still be possible. I wonder if we can parse. I wonder if we can parse the string back into MDX. That would be cool. Okay. So let's see, type owner store props. Type is MDX content, but we're not seeing the content. The owner though is a fiber node, which then has a child, which goes through, and then has another child, which has a fiber node that has, let's see, element types, element type, memoized props, mode, pending props, return, self-base, sibling. Aha, it has siblings. I wonder if this is something we could figure out. My data source virtual is an MDX document. Oh, sorry. My data source is an MDX document. Last effect. So in this example, let's see what's it called. So this is my data source. I'm trying to figure out how to get this after it's been parsed and snip it here. And that's proving difficult because, I mean, I can snip it the ugly way, but then it's not styled using TeamUI because it didn't go through all of the stuff. However, what we can try to do, let's try returning this dangerously set inner HTML. And what if we can wrap this in TeamUI ourselves? And that way we might not need to hack the, let's try that. So if we go to Gatsby plugin TeamUI, team provider, let's see. Do we get this root? Okay. Let's what happens if we try to wrap it with wrap root element? So wrap root element, which is supposed to get the element. What does this do? I think this is gonna die, but it should also, it's weird that it doesn't work because it kind of should. Oh, right. So it works, but it doesn't style it because it's a raw HTML, so it doesn't know what to do with that. Yeah, see, so it became wrapped, yeah, it's wrapped in another div. But let's see, what does React DOM server have? What if React DOM server can do parsing? Render to static node stream, render to static markup. No. It would be, I wonder if React DOM can parse. React DOM parse HTML into JSX. That would be cool. How to parse HTML to React component. Blah. I want to look deeper. Here's an example. No, I don't want to render it. I want to parse it. React DOM server. Render to string. No. React HTML parser. HTML React parser. Okay, let's try that. That might be easier. Git checkout -b. Let's make a boop yarn add HTML React parser, and we're gonna try to parse the. So instead of manipulating the React AST, we're gonna try to do the reverse. We're gonna render it into HTML, cut off the parts we don't need, and then parse it back into JSX and feed that into my component. And in theory, that should work. We'll see if it does. So we got HTML React parser. Now let's see how this shit works. HTML React parser require. Okay, so we say import parse from HTML React parser. And this might actually work better. Okay, where are we? So let's try install parse. Okay, let's try console logging this first. Parse to React. Parse to React. Parse to React. Parse to React. We're gonna take the HTML and parse it back to React. This is not gonna render yet. We're just gonna see a console log. So we go into the console. Oh, I need to restart this. And it looks like that may have worked. Huh. Oh. Okay. Now loading plugins. That needs to reload. This would be cool if it works. Oh, fuck me. Sorry, I got my toenail stuck on my chair. It really hurt. Okay, now while we're doing this, instead of element, what if we just return parse to React the HTML, and we don't need the console logs, and we're now going to see if this works. So reload the page. It's still building the development bundle, and this actually has a good chance of working. Let's see. Okay, building development bundle. Okay, so this part takes a while because my computer is currently busy streaming. I'm still figuring out how to solve that problem. I even got a desktop cooler for my laptop, but it doesn't seem to be helping as much as I would like. I think at some point I'm just going to have to buy a camera that has a clean HDMI out so that I can use a hardware connection instead of using software to parse the DSLR. Blech. All right, building development bundle. There we go. Now let's see if this works. Hell no. Why didn't you work? Well, it rendered, so that's good. It rendered. Now what if we try to console log, let's make const snip children equals parse to React from the HTML, and then we're going to console log the snip children, and we're going to console log the children. Let's do it like this, and then we can compare what's different between these two and see why they're not getting styled. And we're returning snipped children like that. All right. So right away we can see that the snipped children has 29 elements, I think, for each paragraph, and children has 2 elements. The snipped children have a symbol React element type h1, p, and so on, which makes sense. The original children have, the first one has a type of function. The second one has, so they clearly have a lot more stuff. They have keys and shit and refs and types. So why don't these children have the same kind of types? See, this is what I would have expected to find. P and keys and so on. What we're finding instead is all of this weird MDX content stuff. So I think that could be the problem. Now what we're gonna try to do next is, let's see what happens if we wrap root element again. So we're gonna wrap root element and say that element is snip children. So this will potentially fix the styling, but I don't think it actually will, because there's something that MDX is setting for us on this content that normal React stuff doesn't. So what is MDX doing for us? So that's not working. What's the next thing we can try? So MDX is definitely doing something weird here. But what is MDX doing? MDX, what are you doing, MDX? Let's look at how is my MDX actually configured. Yeah, so the context should work even if the tree is different. What I think is happening is that the reason the context isn't working is because these are raw HTML components. They're not MDX aware, so they're not getting all of the props and context connections that the normal MDX parsing gives them. So that's what we have to figure out next. Because we now have plain HTML parsed back into React, which is fine. It makes it React, but it doesn't make it have all of the props and stuff that the original tree had. So we're gonna go here, Command O, random coding. We're gonna look at my course, at my platform, and look at Gatsby config. Yes, so actually MDX is forwarding all the props to React. We are stripping them out here. So this is stripping out the MDX props. So let's see, Gatsby plugin MDX. What is this doing? I'm gonna go look for Gatsby plugin MDX and see if we can find that. It's gonna be in here, packages, Gatsby plugin, Gatsby theme MDX, okay. Gatsby theme, Gatsby plugin. No. Okay, let's go to the Gatsby site, look for the MDX plugin. Oh, it might be an official plugin actually. No, I did not mean to sign in. Gatsby plugins. Welcome to the Gatsby plugin library. Search. No, here. Plugin MDX. Are you an official plugin? Yes, it's an official plugin. So we go to GitHub and let's see. So this thing, the way it's working on Gatsby node, on create, on post bootstrap, on plugin options schema, remark plugins, blah. So we're gonna try to find SSR, Gatsby browser. It's also doing wrap root element. So let's see, utils, MDX.js, gray matter. It's awaiting MDX based on the content and passing it in the source, and then MDX.js MDX is returning the actual code. So gen MDX.js, where do you see that? Ah, good catch. So this would be getting the node data, MDS, yeah, so this is getting the parsed data and sending it around. Gatsby, and that's going through all of the plugin ecosystem and that sort of thing. Okay, so I think I know the actually correct way of doing this would be with a remark plugin or an MDX plugin. We're gonna try one more trick first. I'm gonna see what happens if we just feed this HTML into the MDX component, into the MDX. So MDX here, we're gonna try to attempt this same thing that's happening here. MDX renderer. Where was it? Gatsby browser. Oh, it was in utils index.js. Here, this one. We're gonna try to get MDX.js MDX and do this. So oh, and it's async, so that's not nice. Let's see if it's gonna auto import. So let's try first console logging this. Console log MDX. No, let's try importing it. Oh, we might have to add it first. So crap. Yarn add MDX -js /MDX. So we're installing the MDX the MDX library. And now while that's actually no. So, and then we say import MDX from @MDX -js /MDX. And let's see what this does. I'm gonna yarn start. Excuse me. And we're going to console log the MDX of HTML. So we're passing in the snipped content into the MDX function, or library, and we're gonna see if it's hopefully smart enough to take the raw HTML and also translate it back to the correct data structure it needs to correctly style itself as React. Okay, we're at 40 minutes. I'm gonna give it another 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll see we'll see how far we get. Okie dokie dokie. Come on. Come on, computer, you got this. I know the computer has got this, it just takes some time. I'm also curious, what is mdxjs/react? But we'll see first what this outputs. Wow, my voice is really gone. This might take some time. Oh, I forgot to run my tracker. Okay, can't resolve fs. What? The heck is going on? Okay, what if we... Wait, what? Why can't I... Can't resolve fs. Fs is a... what if we do it like this? Const mdx equals require at mdx... Oh, I know what's wrong. This is potentially running in the browser, so the mdx stuff is not gonna work. Blah. So mdx is not designed to work in the browser, which means we need to look for something else. What is mdx react? Map components to HTML elements based on the markdown syntax. Serves the React implementation for mdx. Okay, so this might work. Oh. Oh ho ho. Where does my mdx provider... yeah, so like Julian said, fs is included by default with Node, but you can't use it in the browser. And here in a Gatsby component, we're kind of... In a Gatsby component, we're in a mixed context between Node and browser because it can run on both sides depending on which part of the process you're in. So... this looks promising. What if we render the mdx provider around our components? Let's see, what else is there? Create mdx. Use it directly with npm init, mdx Gatsby. Okay, so that's that. React, remark mdx, remove imports, remark mdx, runtime. Runtime, what does this have? Okay. This could work. This is gonna be terrible, but it could work. Although no, they don't want us to do that because it's gonna be bad. Utility functions. Let's try rendering it with an MDX provider. Where am I actually rendering the MDX provider? Oh, so Gatsby plugin MDX would probably be doing that. So if we look at Gatsby browser, rep element in rep root element, this is running MDX provider. So MDX plugins, components, MDX scope provider, MDX consumer, export default rep root element from MDX consumer. Aha! Let's try doing that. So instead of this rep root element, we're going to import, let's see, is it exported? Yeah, MDX renderer. Oh, that could be useful. So MDX renderer from MDX renderer. Let's try that. I think that's gonna be a better option. So if we say import, we're gonna say import MDX renderer from Gatsby plugin MDX, which should be defined, and let's console log this just to make sure it's there. Oh. MDX renderer and run yarn start. This might be something useful, and if this doesn't work, we can then still try. No, so I don't want to include the whole MDX runtime when the page loads, because that's going to slow it down and that's not good for Google. But this might be a good approach. But I think ultimately the correct way is going to be to build a plugin. However, we would have to do that next time. Come on. Okay, so we're waiting for this to run. Come on, computer. Rep root element is not defined. Yes, I know. Crap. So I need to do this because we removed we are not importing rep root element from Team UI anymore. Okay. So we get the MDX renderer. So now let's see what virtual sent me. Oh, what's this? Related notes, notes anchor. What is this virtual? Yes, example using the renderer. Nice. Okay, so what we're gonna try to do is basically do this. We're gonna do an MDX renderer and we're gonna pass in the snipped children, and we'll see what happens. What? What is this error? Location provider, unexpected identifier. So unexpected identifier. What? I have no idea what this means. What if we pass in just h1 hello? Will that make it work? No. Why is MDX renderer? I don't understand what this error is. Return construct apply. Oh, do we need the MDX provider first? So where is he getting MDX renderer? Okay. MDX provider. Like that. And we import MDX provider from import MDX provider from at mdx.js/react. Let's see what happens then. No. What? The above error occurred in the location provider component. That is very strange. What is up? Okay, so Gatsby plugin MDX. Yeah, so what is this Gatsby plugin MDX doing? It takes the MDX renderer. Yeah, so that might be affecting it, but let's see. What is this doing? So MDX renderer is a function that gets the scope, uses a memo, and then does stuff. What if we just render hello? Does that make it work? So I think something is failing in a weird part of Gatsby. Okay, so it says hello. We got that far. If we render this in an MDX provider, does that work? So rendering it in the MDX provider also works. What's this? Print down. MDX renderer. Yeah, see, so I don't get this. Why does my MDX renderer immediately die? Let's try importing it this way. And then we render with MDX renderer. And let's see if that makes it work. Okay. No. What if we actually pass components to the MDX provider? But that shouldn't affect it because the error is in a weird location provider. Like unexpected identifier. What? Let's try this again. What the hell? MDX provider, MDX renderer, root location provider. What the hell is this? Okay, let's try. Let's see if anyone has had this. Gatsby MDX renderer unexpected identifier. MDX renderer syntax error. Oh, I think it's excerpts are not compiled MDX, and using them with MDX renderer results in the same error. So what if instead of, wait, no. Can't import that. What? Not the capital M. No, it's the capital MDX. Yeah, we did that. This Gatsby plugin MDX. When I use MDX renderer like that, I get the following error. Written in the README expects compiled MDX, which you get by using Gatsby plugin MDX and Gatsby's GraphQL data layer. We're marking this issue as answered and closing it for now. But please feel free to comment here. So what we need is still to compile the MDX. Is a React component that takes compiled MDX. So we need the MDX body, which we don't currently have. So that's what the problem is. Which means we're back to having to compile the React stuff. Let's try, as a really dirty thing, we're gonna try to use the runtime. Or wait, what is this? MDX. Await MDX blah yields that. So we're gonna try that. Which was something we were already doing. So let's import MDX from @mdx-js/mdx. And down here, we're going to, for now, return hello. H1 hi. Come on. For snip children. And we say console log MDX of snipped children. Right? So we're going to run. We're basically hoping that we, oh, right. The reason that doesn't work is because this needs to be done in Gatsby node. But we don't want to do it with runtime. I think can't see dots had something for us. Can't see dots MDX parser. I know he made something. MDX bundler, there we go. Okay, so let's try MDX bundler. Yarn add MDX bundler. And I think this is gonna work. Okay, we're making good progress here. Almost there. Okay, now we are going to import this. Import bundle MDX from MDX bundler. And here we go. see, console log, we're going to run bundle mdx, where this key, bundle mdx of snipped children, and we'll see if that works. I'm going to run yarn start, wait for it to start up, and then we're going to, whether this works or not, this is the last thing we're doing. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's super fun. Now, well, it actually, I just hope we get it working. Mm-hmm. What? Why? Why does built-in modules not work? Oh, because this is doing some weird stuff. Okay, well, that didn't work. But yeah. So this is still not exactly what we need. But it's interesting. So we almost got there. I think the correct solution is going to be to build a remark/mdx plugin that can do this natively and give us a better split. We might attempt that next week. So until then, I will see you on the newsletter where I'm going to post a recap of what we learned today. I found this super interesting. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next week.